speak to Dr. Willie Smits. He once said that the world would be a better place if we humans were more like orangutans. Well, with their ability to understand the human language, they're having their own culture, sense of self and ability to use tools, it's easy to see why Dr. Smits has so much respect for his orangutan colleagues. Claudette Vaughan spoke to this passionate crusader about why these remarkable beings are so desperate for our help.
Dr. Willie Smits from BOS, that's the Borneo Orangutan Survival Foundation. Welcome. You yourself have said, Dr. Smith, that the world would be a better place if we were more like orangutans. What did you mean by that?
If we look at our behavior as humans, we look indeed a lot more like chimps. We make war. We even know cannibalism. We eat meat. We kill. All these things. Orangutans don't do that. Of about more than 1,200 orangutans that I know personally, I know only 2 naughty ones. I do not know a bad orangutan in this world.
Some of the problems that are facing the orangutans today is forest degradation, loss of habitat, poaching, fires, hunting. Can you please tell us about these problems?
And that is exactly what brings me to Australia, because from BOS we are trying to show that there are mechanisms in which we can work together internationally and help not just the orangutans and their forest home, but through that especially the local people. And on top of that also the climate change and perhaps even relations between Indonesia and other countries. And this is through schemes that involve debt forgiveness, which is a global trend being motored by the United States and England. And Australia, being such a close neighbor of Indonesia, might also consider why not forgive part of the debt of Indonesia and have a new national park established, which will be managed by organizations like ourselves with clear auditing and very good technology to show from satellite imagery that indeed we are delivering the goods, we are doing what we promise, and in this way can help the nature, the orangutans, the local people, the climate, the flooding, all these aspects.
Now Willie, the orangutans are genetically one of our closest cousins.
Yeah, we share 97.4% of our DNA with the orangutan, but if you start looking at some of the similarities rather than just mentioning a figure, we of course anatomically have exactly the same amount of hair as an orangutan. It may be a little bit thinner with us humans, but it's the same. We have the same bones in our body. We have also both a asymmetrical brain. We have the same kind of teeth and structures, and I rather prefer to call orangutans beings because they have a sense of themselves. They also can understand our language and our grammar. They just don't have the throat that will enable them to produce words as we do and sentences. They even can grasp concepts of mathematics and more. They have culture. Culture which is different in different geographical regions, just as with people. They have like a kind of rituals which are not adapted to any environmental situation. They inherit the knowledge from their parents about not just food plants and poisonous plants, but also about medicinal plants, how to use. So if we start looking, they even seem to have a concept of what death is. They are sad about friends that they lose, and they make a plan. Dominant males, the big ones with the cheek pads and the big throat pouch, they can travel through the forest and have an 8-year plan to be back exactly when it's time for those females in this area to become pregnant again. So looking at all these things, it's really scary. And you can just see it in the eyes of these orangutans that they love and they live like us. You see something of yourself. It's like falling in love, and all of a sudden these goosebumps, it's happening with them. And they, when you can open yourself to them, they can read your eyes as an open book. And then you realize we shouldn't be treating them in the way we do. 10,000 years ago, there were still millions of orangutans from South India to China, all over. And now they're everywhere gone, except for a small piece of Sumatra, the island of Sumatra, and a few patches of forest on the island of Borneo. Everywhere, humans were basically the cause for their disappearance.
How can we help your cause in Australia?
The orangutans need still a lot of work. At this moment, there are fires going on in Borneo. There are many areas of forest being opened for rubber and oil palm plantations where the orangutans have nothing left, are walking on the ground. We need to save those ones and their babies so that we can relocate them to safe forests. So what we really need at this moment is most of all financial support so that our teams can go out there with tranquilizer darts and save those orangutans, but also to help us in the bigger program. So also we need political support, that you can try, that people here are going to pay attention to what wooden chair they're sitting on or what oil palm products they buy. Don't buy oil palm that has contributed to the destruction of forest. Only buy it from companies that have rehabilitated devastated areas and actually restored microclimate, hydrology and created jobs. So people can also have a choice as a consumer here and have a voice in the government to pay attention to the environment. And of course, if you look at our website, orangutans.com.au, you will find many other things that you can do and become a member of BOS and have a say and an active role in helping our close relatives.
That was a wonderful story. Now Peter, since the tsunami disaster, these orangutans need our help more than ever. Whilst they managed to escape the floods, they are now at an increased risk of being poached for food and as a source of income for struggling human survivors.
That's a great piece of work from Dr. Willie and